My name is Frank. I'm the current owner of this 1990 Mitsubishi Eclipse all-wheel drive. It's currently a drag car, certified for 8.5 second quarter-mile pass. The way I acquired the car, I was on Craigslist just looking for a clean shell, or just a car that needed a lot of work. At the time, I already had 4 DSMs, but they weren't the cleanest, or they had rust, or they were front wheel drive. That was the big thing, and I wanted an all wheel drive car. So I ended up finding one, and the guy wanted $1,300 for the car, and I was like, I hit him up and I said, hey, gonna come look at it? And he was like, yeah, sure. And this is when I was living in San Diego, California, and I went all the way to Campo, California, which is like really inland of San Diego. I was an old man, and when I looked at the car, I was like, oh wow, it's pretty ugly. It used to be champagne color, and I was like, you know what, I don't care at this point. It's all-wheel drive, and it ran on 3 cylinders. And I told the guy, like, look, man, I'm not an expert mechanic, but I know these cars very well, and I told him, like, hey, I'll give you $500, and he's like, sold. Of course, the car needed an engine, so I was able to get one of those JDM engines, put a stock turbo in it, stock clutch, drove it for a long time. I wasn't making that much money at the time, and basically, hey, it's a daily driver. At the beginning, it was just basic bolt-on 16G car, actually it's just 14B car. You wanted to get all the road race engineering parts, and that's when I met Mike Welch, the owner of Road Race Engineering, and he's like, yeah, I'll bring the parts. I ended up meeting my girl, and I moved to Anaheim, California, and found a better job, and that's when things got a little bit of, hey, I want to do this to the car, and the car was still champagne at the time, and I started with a paint job. Wanted to look really clean for this Mitsubishi show called MOD, or MOD, Mitsubishi Owners Day. Fast forwarding it a couple years, I decided that I wanted the car to be on 85 and at least run a 12-second pass. I got it to the 12s, and then I wanted more. There was no stopping, and it was like, okay, I was hooked. I felt what the car can do on the stock engine. It was amazing, and we went with this is pretty old school DSM turbos, but the Frankenstein 2 or level 2. This turbo was so old that it was like before FP, Force Performance, was, selling turbos. I think that was like old school FP. I don't know, but ran 11.7 on a 20G or the Frank level 2, and it was amazing. From there, I wanted more. From there, I upgraded the car to an FP green, and had it like that for a while. Making 460 horsepower, ran 11.5. I was still streetable, 85, drove it everywhere, loved it. But yet again, cars kept getting faster, and I wanted to be faster. One day I had a grudge match with one of my friends. He had a Corvette Z06, bone stock Z06 on the tire. I had my car, we were neck and neck, and he ended up taking the win, but I busted a ring gland, and that was the end of the built motor. I ended up getting a new engine block, put it together. Friends with Road Race Engineering helped me out, kind of tune the car and get it all together. We put the 3582, made about 660 horsepower, and the learning curve, that's when the learning curve of the car began. Learning how to drive it, a car with that much power. Now I needed slicks, needed a built transmission, and never ran a 10-second pass before. It was just stuck in the 11s. I would go to Irwindale, run a 7.0 at 100 miles per hour. There's some YouTube clips out there, people filming. it was a learning curve. And one day I just said, hey, I asked my girls, like, can we go to import face-off? I made the decision, like, hey, I'm just gonna go, no testing, no nothing, I'm just going. You know, we ended up winning the class. My first 10-second pass and my first IFO win. And after that, it was a never-ending addiction to go faster. And that's how this build began. The car back then was black, 3582. Multiple times in Fontana, it was a consistent 10-4 car, 5-speed, synchro transmission. It took was popping the head gasket in Fontana, and I was like, you know what, that's it. I'm gonna get another turbo, I'm gonna get an engine, I'm gonna take, I'm gonna just do this a drag spec car and get out there and try to get an 8-second pass and be competitive with the big guys. From there, we took the engine apart. We took the car completely apart. At the time, I was living in Ontario, and I was just taking the car apart, getting it ready for paint. I wanted to paint it the silver color that it is now, and this was about 6 years ago. But yeah, I hit up the gentleman up in San Jose, California, or Milpitas. His name is Ted Speck, and he helped me compose a build for the short block, the pistons, the aluminum rod engine, and just kind of walked me through the whole build. And he was the gentleman that helped me put that engine together. Got the engine back. Sam at the time was working at Rotors Engineering. Now he works at AEM, and he helped me put the wiring harness together for the car. And he told me, hey, you should get Infinity. It's a badass computer. I said, done, let's get it. So that's what I have right now, AEM Infinity. And then, I had the turbo. I have a 67mm turbo from Precision. And then back then, Fernando at O-Star, he hooked me up with the PPG dog box at the time. I'm going to fast forward, what it is now. Getting the car in the track, non-stop, breaking parts left and right. Like, one time I went to Arizona because I wanted to, COVID happened, and all the tracks in California were closed. So I went to Arizona with my buddy. This is the same buddy that I raced with the Z06. He still has that car today. So we go and, have fun at the track. But we're in Arizona, and I broke every single axle. I broke the rear axles twice, and I broke basically all 4 axles at one hit. And, I was stubborn. I'm very stubborn. I'm like, I want to do this 5-speed. I have a PPG dog box. And by the time I was like, you know what, this is exhausting. This is not fun anymore. I didn't want to give up on the platform at all. But my buddy, all my buddies would tell me, like, just swap it to automatic. I was like, man, I don't want to. But I already had the automatic parts laying because I had a feeling this was going to happen. So I was like, you know what the hell. So I swapped it to automatic. My buddy Gustavo Centeno guided me how to put this together, and Ted gave me some advice. Aaron Gregory, David Padilla, or as people know him as Usan, kind of guided me through the path of going automatic and what to build, what to buy, and what not to buy. Buy the Jeff Bush drum, buy the gears, the transfer case brace, all that good stuff. And just did the swap right here in the garage. The car right now is making about 930 horsepower on the 5-speed dyno. It probably makes less because of the torque converter, but it still has the same engine from 6 years ago. Now it's automatic. It has the Jeff Bush Precision Industries torque converter, stock T-case, stock diff, DSS rear axles, Mickey Thompson ET drags 26 by 8. It's a pretty like off the shelf, put it together car. Like, hey, you want to go fast on the quarter mile? You get an auto, you get aluminum rod engine, and you get a 67 or bigger turbo. Of course, it has all the safety equipment. It has the parachute. It has the 10-point cage. I have a fire suit, helmet, and whatnot. The car was tuned by Sam at AEM, and then I've been helped for the launch settings by Armin Tune. And it's still on the quest to yet run an 8-second pass, but we'll settle for 9 right now. And as long as the car stays together. My biggest cheerleader, my wife, she's always been very supportive of the platform from the beginning. She's known the progress of the car since the beginning, when it used to be ugly duckling and what it is now, still an ugly duckling. My buddy Oscar, he's always helping me out. Oscar, you guys know him as Oscar Talent on Instagram. Always helping me. All the guys on Inland, Ivan, Oscar again, Gus, he's always helping me out. You know, gotta give them a shout out for the guys helping me out. So, you know, Ted, he's always been available, and Sam at AM. But yeah, but my wife has always been like the one, always like, hey, you gotta win, you gotta do it, you gotta push it through, you know. And then she's a great push to what the car. She's so heavily involved on the car's success. You know, she even drove it once and broke the transmission, but that's another story. But yeah, I mean, I've been helped a lot. I don't consider myself an expert, but I'm pretty hands down I get down with the car. But there's a lot of people here that help me. And it's just, the list goes on and on. One of the biggest reasons why I finally decided to go automatic was breaking rear ends like crazy. My buddy Tim Zimmer at TMZ Transmissions up in Wisconsin was very helpful on trying to get me to go fast on 5-speed. But once I took a fresh built, you know, rear end after breaking 4 of them, this will be number 4. It was just clear that this platform wasn't for me. I needed to go with the automatic setup. You know, the DSF platform is it's almost like a diet platform. Not a lot of guys want to invest the time and the money to continue bringing this car alive. These cars do have their set of problems. You know, they like to break timing belts, transmissions, out of all things. But anything's possible. Like, the reason I got this car is because I could just keep the stock turbo, crank up the boost, and then rewire the fuel pump and have a blast. And if you can have that, like, hey, I'm gonna have fun with the car and just do the bare minimum, and I don't have to be the best at everything. Like, you can do that with these cars. These cars are affordable in that aspect. Horsepower to money ratio is definitely pretty good on these cars. But you know, it all depends on what you're trying to use the car for. You know, if you're just trying to keep it, you want to handle right, you know, you go with the basic 16G setup and some suspension, and that's all you need for the car. Just make sure the car doesn't overheat. But anything's possible. I mean, I have a lot of friends that have these cars, and they do things on the cheap side, and the car just performs. It just works. Don't give up on your hobby, and you know, don't give up on. You don't have to have $1 million. I mean, you know, you do need to be crafty, you know, and put it together. But you know, it's just, anything is possible. If you put your mind to it, you say, hey, this is what I want to do. You're gonna make it happen. So I gotta go check on the kids, make sure they're still around.